main business, something that I do as a business. All right, so now the other part that Brother Russell asked me to talk about, it was on like company registration in China. Like if someone wants to register their company in China, what do they do? What are the steps? To register your company in China is actually pretty easy. And to actually operate like as a company, not as an individual, is actually, you can say it's both easy and difficult. It's easy, but it differs from city to city, from city to city, from city to city. So what you basically need is an idea, right? Not even something very complex, right? You just have like a rough idea of what you want to do, an idea, and you need office space, right? So now in some cities, this is where it differs. In some cities, they allow for your house to register, for you to register your house as an office space, or they have what they call virtual offices, right? Whereby you have an office, but it's not a real office, right? So once you have office space or something that you can register as office space, right, depending on the city and on your location, then you can register your company. They will just need your valid passport and your valid visa. And then 3 to 5 working days or 3 to 7 working days, depending on your city, you have your company license, right? So to register your company and to actually operate as a company, you don't actually need to have a degree. You can be doing your bachelor degree, or you can actually be doing a master's degree. You'll be ready to operate like as a company, right? The advantages that it gives you is that when you graduate, you can then switch from your student visa to a work visa using your company. So the process is like, after you graduate, you register your company, right? After you graduate, you register your company and your company is operating. You then have your company employ you as like a manager. You're now a manager for your own company. That's how it works. So after that, now you now apply for a work permit for you to work for your company. And that process now, that's when they now need the education documents, right? So in Beijing, I think the least that they require is a master's degree. Here in Foshan, where I am, even a bachelor degree is okay. So now, depending on the city, most cities require either a bachelor's degree. Most cities require either a master's degree or 2 years working experience, right? And some cities just want a bachelor's degree. Some cities just say a bachelor's degree. It's okay. And I heard some cities, they say that as long as you're a founder, even if you don't have a degree, they can help you get a work visa. But I've never tried or helped someone in such a city. So after you apply to get a work permit, applying for your company to work for your company, you get a work permit. And then after you get a work permit, you then apply for a residence permit. I heard in Beijing, the process is now easy and you can actually do it on your own online. If I'm not mistaken, I heard Mama Emilia. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. Maybe I might get the information or the name wrong. I'm not lying on a name. It will be a mistake. But if you want to do it in Beijing, I think she might be in a better position to give you accurate, precise knowledge concerning Beijing actually. Beijing actually, because I have friends who did it in Beijing, but I've never helped someone in Beijing or open a company in Beijing. So concerning Beijing city, she might be in a better position to help you. I think I heard here, I think it was actually a testimony, if I'm not mistaken, saying that she did the process on her own and everything passed. So that's basically the surface level about the company registration in China. And some of the lessons that I've learned so far, as I'm still learning, some of the lessons that I've learned that I think will be helpful to somebody who is listening. I would say the first lesson is to just start, right? I think business is about life in general, right? What do I mean? You're going to have ups and downs. Just like in life in general, you're going to have ups and downs. So avoiding to start a business because you're worried that you're going to make a loss or you're going to lose money is really like saying, I want to die because I'm afraid in life I'm going to face hardships. It's just a part of life. It's going to happen. Even if you're Elon Musk, you are, I don't know, you are the business guru from your country, just start the business. You're going to make a loss. You're going to lose money. It's guaranteed, right? But the most important thing is in those lessons you are going to learn, right? I studied business for my bachelor degree. I studied business administration. I studied international business for my first master. I did an MBA for my second master. But the things that we learn in class and the things that happen in real life, the difference is night and day. They are both important. The things that you learn in class and the things that you learn in the real business world, they are very important. So even if we were to have a business seminar, like have a business seminar run from Friday to Sunday, those things that are going to be very, very important. But nothing will be as important as the lessons that you are going to learn when you're actually running like the business. There are some things that you could never foresee coming, unless maybe by God's spirit, then you could foresee some things coming, and then maybe the spirit of the Lord will help you maybe avoid some things. But there are some things that are going to happen in business that you can, you could calculate, you could say, I'm going to do this and do that, but avoiding to start because you are afraid of making a loss. I don't know. You're still going to make a loss. No matter how careful you are, you're still going to make a loss. But the most important thing is from that loss, you're going to learn, right? From that loss, you're going to learn. From that loss, you're going to learn. And the more you keep on doing it, you see, like you can make a loss today and it's very, very painful. You will not sleep, right? You will not sleep. Sometimes my wife will say to me, "Hey, I think you're now doing it too much," because it will be very, very painful. And you'll be very stressed, like, am I going to come out of this? But 2, 3 weeks, something will come and you already be laughing and smiling about it. Like it is already past. Just like in life, just like in life, even when we were growing up, sometimes we'll go out to play football and you have a deadly injury. And that night, you will not sleep because maybe your leg is paining you very, very much. That injury, you say, I'll never play football again. But after 2, 3 days, you're healed, you're back in the street, you're kicking the ball again. So I would say the most important thing is just to start. Like there's I don't know who I said, like those who make it in business are those who move fast, because if you move fast, you fail fast. And when you fail fast, you learn fast, and then you can mitigate the risk. So I would say like starting very early. Of course, don't rush. We obviously have to be careful about finance so that we don't lose money. But after you make all those careful inquiries, you do your research, and you think you're ready to go, I think just go for it. Just go for it. You are going to fail, but it doesn't matter. The most important thing is to get up. The most important thing is to get up. It doesn't matter how much you get knocked down. The most important thing is to get up. Then the second thing that I would say is that in business, right, trust is the biggest currency in business. Trust is the biggest currency in business. Be it's you to your clients, or you to your employees, or you to your partners. Like if there is a lack of trust, if people don't trust you, like they don't trust you, they don't trust you to deliver their goods, they don't trust you to deliver the service, is going to be very, very difficult for there to be a transaction, right? So trust is the biggest currency in business. Like people have to trust you to some extent, for them to trust you with their money, for them to trust you with anything. So trust, I don't know how to say it, but trust is the biggest currency in business. So with that now comes what we call like branding, building a brand. So now branding basically not what we see on TV, like the big people. Like branding is something that is built over over a long time. Like when you say Toyota, right? People think of a car that's reliable, right? They know Toyota is reliable. You are in the desert, you're in Africa, you're in Zimbabwe, you're in China. A Toyota is reliable. Why? Because they've made cars for a very long time which are reliable, right? So that is their brand, right? When you say Mercedes, people would think comfort, luxury, right? That is because it has been like that. It has been consistent for a very long time, right? If you say maybe a Rolls Royce is 100% just luxury, and maybe you just want to flex on some people, like I'm rich, you know. That is the branding. So now, as an individual or as somebody who's going to start your company, or for somebody if you're already in business, right? It's all about being consistent. And I remember when I started selling on WeChat, when I was posting on my WeChat moments, I think I went for like 2 or 3 weeks just posting on my WeChat moments without anyone even asking like how much is this? But after 3 weeks of posting, right? Someone will now send you a DM and will say, I've been watching your post to see if you are consistent, right? So they want to see if you're consistent so that they can trust you. Because if you post today, right, and then you post next week, they don't really trust that if they give you money, you're going to be available on WeChat tomorrow. This is just an example if you're doing business on WeChat. But let's say you're posting on WeChat every day, right? In the prospect's mind, he knows that this guy, if I give him my money today, tomorrow he has to post on WeChat. So he has to deliver my. So now the third lesson I would say is consistency, right? Consistency. Like during the first days, whatever business that you're going to start, right? If you're in your room and you're saying, if I launch this product, 2 weeks people are going to buy. Why? Because you're not, no one is giving you objections. But now when you actually launch the product, you now actually launch the business, you can actually go 2, 3, 4 weeks without even someone saying, hey, how much is this? And not even buying, but I'm just asking for the price. But it doesn't matter. It's just consistency. When you keep on going and you keep on going, people are going to get to that level that they trust you, and they will trust you with their money. Even if there is a problem, they will somehow trust you that to some extent, yes, there's a problem, but I think this guy is going to do what he does best to solve the problem. So I would say these are some of the lessons that I've learned, like doing business in China, that I think might be very, very helpful. And how uh, uh, my faith, like how our faith, right, the Christian faith, how my relationship with God has helped me in the business. I would say first, right, before I get into very, very spiritual stuff, right, I would say like uh the church, right? The church isn't like dear brothers and sisters who are in the church. They've been my biggest supporters in my business. All right. Like when I started, I was selling suits. Why was I selling suits? Because my background was like church. So I knew that if I post suits on my WhatsApp status, mostly people from church are going to view the suits and they're going to be interested in this product. Like that's how I started. And the people who started buying from me were people from my church, right? Like if we see like most in this meeting, right? In our meeting right now, I would say 80 to 90% of people in this meeting have bought for me either a product or a service, maybe
True.
directly
It's
or
true.
indirectly, right? Maybe directly or indirectly. So the first thing before we even get to prayer, the first thing that I'm really grateful for belonging in God's family is the support that I have received from brothers and sisters from the church. That is something that I could never get anywhere. And I'm really, really grateful to God and to you guys for that. Like, I think that's enough. I'm really, really grateful to God and to you guys for that support. It's priceless. It's from the start until now. it's really, really priceless. So I would say that's the first thing. And then the second thing I would say, they are, you know, miracles. Now, I would say there are miracles and God's leading, and God's leading. And something that I've learned, right? I might be right, I might be wrong, but Pastor Ben will correct me, because this is maybe a little bit on the spiritual stuff, is that sometimes God's leading is sometimes you see God's leading. How do I say it? Like when you look at the story of Joseph, right? First he has the dream, right? First he has the dream, but the dream does not show him that he's going to be sold, he's going to do this, he's going to do this, right? It is at the end when he now meets his brother, then he says to them, "You did this, right? But this was God leading you to this." So he looked at God's leading from like he was now at the end. Then he says, this always been God's leading. It wasn't God's leading as in like take a left, take a right, go straight, go backwards, right? But it was at the end where he now met his brothers. Then he says, "You guys were doing this, right? But this was actually God's leading. That is, God has this far, right?" So I see this in my life, like almost like like every time, like something happens, maybe I'm confused for a little bit. What is happening? What is happening? But then at the end, say, I think this has been God's leading. Like, let me give you an example, something that happened recently. I've always wanted to get into the shipping business, right? I've always wanted to get into the shipping business, but when you are starting, if you're alone, the costs, like, they're very, very high, because you have to get a warehouse so that people receive the goods, and then you have to book a container because people want to pay for their goods on delivery. If you're using air shipping, you have to book the air cargo, right? So I think last year around November, somebody texted me on WeChat, says, uh, there's a party happening in Foshan. There are warehouses there. You can go and check it out. So I didn't go to that party, but then I got a contact of somebody who was like renting out the warehouses. Then I spoke to the person on WeChat, asked him how much is it to rent a warehouse, and then he said $1,000. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I just put it aside. I was like, not yet, maybe in the future. And then about 2 weeks ago, right? 2 weeks ago, someone who was in China, right, who was doing business in Beijing, but who's not back home, he contacted me and he said, there are these guys, big people, open they want to open a shipping company in China, do this, do this. So I was thinking you could help them. And I said, it's okay. So now I started talking to the guys, right? And this has been something that I was doing a little bit of research on the side. So I was really well informed. So now talking to them, they were ready to sponsor the warehouse, ready to cover all the costs that I was afraid of, right? So after everything, we agreed, and then we got into the partnership. They'll provide the finances. I'll do the work. I'll do the work. I'll do the work on the ground. Now the guy who was now renting out the warehouses finally gave me the contact of the actual owner of the warehouses, like the Chinese guy, right? So I went to him. I told him I need a warehouse. Then he said, "Is this much? But you need to provide 2 months rent as deposit." So the money now multiplied, like first month rent and then 2 months rent as deposit, which became a lot of money. So I told him, and I said, no, this is a lot of money. Me and my partners were only prepared to pay for this month's rent. This deposit is too much. Can we do something about it? Then he said, I like you, come to my office. So I went to his office, right, just yesterday. Now, when I got to his office now, he then showed me like an application or a website that he was building for selling cars, because he also sells cars. He says, "This is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing. I'm selling cars. I'm selling cars." Then he says, "If you're interested, I can give you this shop," right? It's like an online shop. It's like, "I can give you this shop for selling cars, right? I'll put your company name, your company logo, and your contact details on it, right? So what he actually gave me, right, in simple terms, our time is almost up. What he actually gave me in simple terms is like he gave me his shop to sell his products, right? But with my company name, company profile, and my contact details on it, right? Which makes what I've been doing, like selling cars, very, very easy. Because now if somebody like requests for a car, I'll just give him that website. Now, when he goes to that website, he sees everything in that shop, right? But the contact details, the logos, and the company profile, everything is mine. You get it? So these things happen like every time. And when I look back at it and all the events I just say like, these are not things that I sat down and says, oh, you have to look for a Chinese boss who is a car shop so that he can give me, you know, I could sit and say I'm a very, very good businessman. I was closing these deals, but I'll be lying. I never thought about this. I never like did a pitch. It's just something that I can say I didn't pray for it. If I say I was praying for it, I was fasting, I will be lying. Yes, I was praying, but this is not something that I was praying for. But then I can just see the hand of God in it. Like it's something that I've always wanted. But to say I prayed for it, I'll be lying. It's something that I always wanted. But to say that I was praying for it, I'll be lying. Then the last thing I would say would be like hope, you know. I would say believing God just gives me this hope that says sometimes things go bad in business. Sometimes you don't even have money, payments are slowing down. But I just have this hope that with the Lord, there will be a way, a door will be opened. And 10 times out of 10, He always comes through and doors will be opened. So I would say, like, the support from the church, the miracles that I see, and the hope that the Lord has given me that things might be tough now, but they're going to be okay. Always plays out at the end. I would say for now, that is all. That is all for me. Again, once again, thank you so much, Brother Russell. Thank you so much, everyone. Uh, for now, I think that's it.
Wow.
I think I end here.
Wow. No, that's so powerful. That was so powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, brothers, let's just appreciate Brother Blessed here for sharing with us his journey, his very powerful and inspirational things that we've been hearing here. Yeah, so he's not going yet. We're now going to go into a time of Q&A. So if you have questions, we're not just going to have like more of a conversation style, you know? So if you have questions, or if you even want to add something, maybe your own journey doing business that you want us to, that we can learn from, that we can hear and learn from, please feel free to share it now. Okay, so while we're waiting for people, okay, I see Emmanuel's hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, brother, for the sharing. Brother Emmanuel has a question in the chat room which says, how much does it cost to open a company in your current city?
All right. In function to open a company is about 3,000, no, 1,200 RMB. Sorry. It's 1,200 RMB for just the registration. Just the registration is 1,200 RMB. Uh, Most of the costs that are incurred when you are opening a company, right, is usually the rent. Like I said, like there has to be an address as an office. So either you get an office, a commercial office, or there are some areas in this city, there are some areas whereby you can use your apartment as office space, right? You can use your apartment as office space. So if you get that now, you are just paying rent for your apartment and not for the office, and then you are using your apartment as office space. So it's because of the costs like company rent that usually makes the price high when you are starting, because usually you have to pay for like office rent, maybe 3 months, 6 months, maybe 3 months, 6 months, or most times even 1 year, because they want to see that you are serious. That's how they'll give you your company license. And also in this city, right? Like if you register a company in Foshan, you can be two founders, like you and your friend, right? You can be two founders. If you in Foshan open a company as two founders, you both share costs, right? And you can both be eligible to get work visas to work for your company. Like both of you. That's one of the good things about like opening a company in the city. But I think in Beijing is a little bit different. Is that good enough? All right. The documents needed for opening a company. Where's my phone? Let me see if I have the list in my phone so that I could just copy and paste.
All right. Yeah, I think you are asking the question to the right person. I think he's someone who is knowledgeable when it comes to this, and he can help. Especially for his city in Foshan. I know also like different cities have different policies for company registration, even for work permits. Yeah, but I think you can still be able to get to know maybe some of the minimum requirements that are needed for company registration. All right, so when you find the list, you paste it in the chat section so that brother can be able to have an idea of it. And also another thing just to add is that the conversation doesn't have to end here. Within the time slot that we have, we might not be able to cover everything that we need. But one good thing is that through these sessions, through these conversations, you can be able to, it's like sort of spotlighting some of the brothers who are knowledgeable in certain areas. So you can even message them privately to say, oh, thank you for the presentation. I would like to know more about this and this and that. Yeah, both for this session and even the previous session that we had on personal finance and investment, you can message Brother Jeremiah. They're more than happy to help us, as a family here. So yeah, even the things that we might not be able to talk about within this time, but now that you know that these people are knowledgeable in these areas, you can approach them and can have a conversation going forward. Yeah. Okay, so I think Brother Blessed has posted the documents required in the chat section. So I think Brother Emmanuel, you can take a look at that. Okay, so I have a question here. I have one question that I wanted to ask. So for me, on my end, by God's grace, I started also a company. Sorry, not a company. I started a business when I was doing my bachelor's degree. And like you said, the things that you learn in class and the things that you learn when you're actually doing the things, it's night and day. You can be a professional in class getting straight A's, a perfect GPA in MBA or whatever it is. But when it comes to things on the ground, it's just so different. So I've also learned a lot of things from that experience. But then one of the things I wanted to ask you, Brother Blessed, was on partnerships. I've seen that sometimes, you want to work with someone as you're expanding your business as a partner, investor, or whatever it is. But then sometimes the partnerships don't always work out. So, for example, if I'm sourcing for people back home, or I want to be selling things at home, and then I find someone at home to say, oh, let's partner. You'll be the person on the ground to be helping me to distribute these products that I am going to be selling them. and then the person ends up taking the money or the products, or it just ends as in a strange way. Nothing comes out of it. So you try and partner with this person, try and work together with this person, but it's like the thing is not working. And interestingly, we were having this conversation with some other people, and they also had the similar problems, where it's like working with people, sometimes, especially maybe back home, where you're not there, you find that you're being duped, by the people the so-called partners. So I wanted to ask you, how do you handle these kind of situations where you're trying to partner with someone, grow your business, but the person ends up it just doesn't materialize? Have you had these kinds of experiences, and how did you deal with them?
That one is a tough one. I think almost everybody in China has faced that one. Me, I faced it multiple times. I faced it multiple times. I think it's because firstly, I was mostly working with the people closest to me, family and friends. And to be frank, right, to be fair, these are the only people you trust. These are the only people you trust. So it becomes very, very hard. So I can say to a greater extent, I can relate. But recently, I think last year, I I needed to get someone on my team. I needed to get someone on my team, and I needed to get someone very, very good. Very, very good. So what I did is I actually went on LinkedIn. That were the extremes. That was the extreme. Those were the extremes that I took. I actually went on LinkedIn and I saw somebody who was in the field of the person that I was looking for, right? I saw someone who was in the field of. So then I talked to that person. Then I asked that person for what is this? If he could give me one or two people whom he recommended. Like, for example, if you need a salesperson, let's say you need a salesperson, right? Let's say you need a salesperson. You then go on LinkedIn and then you look for people who are reputable, who talk about sales, right? Or maybe even on Facebook, people who talk about sales, people who are, what's this, consistent, right? Then you message those people, you say, I see you do sales training. Sales is really your thing. I'm looking for two or three sales people who can really help me. I'm doing this, 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 this. And then those people recommend to you two or three people. Then you then you then you talk to them and see like who best aligns with what you want to do. That is what I did there. And I can say that has been the most fruitful partnership that I've ever done, right? So now I think to directly answer your question, right? First, I learned somebody said, right? Never hire someone you cannot fire, right? For example, if you're to give your sister a job, right? If she does something that you don't like, it's gonna be hard for you to to fire your sister or your brother, right? Why? Because you've got family ties. They might take it from the office back home. So I'm not saying don't work with your family, but the relationship has to be very, very professional, right? The relationship has to be very, very professional. Now, in a scenario whereby the person is not working for you, right? If somebody is working for you, uh, try by all means to get a very, very professional person, right? It's better you have your family manage like the process. Let's say you're looking for a salesperson, right? You're opening a shop. It's better that person gives your mother or your father everything that they sold on the day. Let's say you open a shop for shoes. It's better that person that you hire give the money that they're going to sell for a day to your mother and father than for you to employ your mother and father. It's better that person cashes the money to your brother or sister than for your brother or sister to sell your products, right? This has just been me, according to my experience. Try to get someone as professional as possible and let them know that, firstly, we are running something very professional here. Never hire someone you can fire. Then number two, in case it's a 50-50, right? In case it's a 50-50 partnership, right? In case it's a 50-50 partnership, try by all means to make sure that the other party has something to lose, right? For example, you buy shoes in China wholesale, right? You do the shipping, you give your friend or relative the shoes to sell, right? If the business goes good, they have 100 things to benefit, 100% benefit, guaranteed. But if the business goes bad, you are 100% in a loss. You get the point? So that person will not give 100% of his energy because they don't have anything to lose, right? They don't have anything to lose. So when you're taking risk, if you're getting a partner, right? Uh, Besides character, I think the character will obviously be number one. But let's say you agree the character is good, the person is, let's say, a Christian, right? The person is a Christian, prayerful. The character part is good. They are honest to some extent. The character, obviously, character has to be the first. But let's say you get the character out of the way, like in business, they have to be losing something. For it to be a partnership, they have to be losing something to some extent. I would say that is all from me. Maybe some others who have had a similar issue can help on this one.
Mm, those are very good points. Those are very good points. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. I think hiring someone professionally and finding a professional person to work with, don't hire someone you can't fire. I think that's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you for sharing that. Is there any person who maybe would want to answer the question, or maybe you have another question that you'd like to ask, or a contribution that you'd like to make from your maybe business journey that you would like to add, which would be helpful for us? No questions, comments, or you can type it if you can't, if you're not able to say anything, you can just type, whether it's a question or a comment. Okay, I have another question. I think so for me also, I because just like the speaker from the last time was saying that you can't just depend on your job alone, right? You need to have multiple streams of income, which is also why I thought today's session is important to be able to know some of these things so that we can be able to have different things that we're doing, which are like revenue sources. So I guess one question that I have now is, what would you say, how did you or how were you able to balance your schoolwork and the business? Because I think that's one thing that sometimes we struggle with, to say, okay, I'm already doing this, so how will I be able to now juggle, running this business and then my thesis and my deadlines and things like that? Do you have any kind of advice or how you did it? Because you said you studied it as you're doing it your bachelor's, right? So how were you able to do that? To say the pressure of doing the business and handling that, and then also your schoolwork. How were you able to manage or juggle these two?
That's a very, I think that's a very good question. But I think I was very lucky that when I started, most of the work was online. Like when I started, I would visit factories, but maybe 4 times in a year just to get contacts or just to keep in contacts with suppliers. So when I started, much of the work was online. So I could balance because I was working on my phone. I was working on my phone. So yeah, it wasn't that difficult. It wasn't that difficult. I think now now because now I move a lot. That's when I'm actually challenged, like balancing. Even now, it's no longer school, but it's actually life. You know, the wives, they'll complain, "You're not giving me attention. You are always worried about the business." So, and things like your prayer life. When you're having like a week, like every day you wake up in the morning, you're out, you're back late, you're tired, you sleep, you know. So sometimes even my prayer life can be affected, even my study life can be affected. I can say now is when I'm actually uh, getting that challenge. But what I'm learning, what I'm trying to do is to build teams, uh, to build teams. That this is what I'm trying to do and how I'm trying to solve, so that if I'm not there, right, the business doesn't die. Many people say the African businesses die with their owner, right? I think it's because we fail to build teams. Like somebody said that as a CEO, you must always look for ways to fire yourself. All right. So this is what I'm learning to do now, right? I'm trying to get people who can do the things that I'm doing now so that I can have a little bit of time free, so I can say this is actually a challenge right now and I'm learning. I can't say that I have like just like now. I just arrived now for the meeting, which is not good. On a normal day, I was supposed to be ready 10 minutes before the meeting started. But because I was rushing, coming from somewhere, I just said to bam, I'm here, which is very good. So I can say when I was at school, it wasn't really a big problem. It is actually a problem now, and it's something that I'm actually learning. And if there is somebody listening who can actually help me with this, I would be very glad. It's actually something that I'm learning to do now. Thank you.
Thank you for that answer. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say on that issue? Like being able to handle the different aspects of our lives, those with families, spiritual things, and then the business, and then maybe work. How are you managing, brothers? Okay, I saw someone's mic was on. You can go ahead and share. Or maybe we're all having the same problem. We need to pray. May God help us. All right. All right. If there is no comment or question, I guess because of time, we're gonna wrap it up and we're gonna bring our session to a close. Once again, I would like to say thank you to our brother Blessed for taking the time to speak to us, share with us these very insightful points. And despite your busy schedule, like you were saying, you were still able to take this time out and come and help us as brothers. And I thank you for the points that you've shared. Personally, I've really gotten a lot from what you've shared, a lot of very practical points, and I've also got to see things which I didn't see exactly before. Right. So I thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you. And yeah, we'll continue to support your businesses as well. Yeah.
Thank you so.
Thank you. Okay, before we bring it to a close, I see our brother Edwin He shared some points in the chat. Let me just read them. Okay, he says, first point, when you're starting, don't undervalue yourself. Know your core value. Number 2, put your agreements formally in writing. Process of negotiating the contract helps to understand what or who you are dealing with. Number 3, always try to stay one step ahead and anticipate the unexpected. COVID, the ongoing war in Iran, AI. Thank you for sharing these points. These are good points. These are good points. And just seeing this, it's just reminded me of something. One thing that I was also learning was when it comes to managing different things, like when we grow, when we learn, we are able to be more productive. And so we're able to more efficiently use our time. So I think something like AI, being able to use AI we can be able to shorten the amount of time that we're able to spend on certain tasks that we would normally spend more time. And therefore you take that time and more efficiently use it in other areas of our life. So I think that's also just a point that I wanted just to throw out there. All right. So now I'm just going to let me invite our pastor, Pastor Ben, just to share a few things and then maybe some announcements as well. Pastor Sir, you're welcome.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Brother Russell, and also Brother Blessed, for the wonderful insight you've outlined here this evening. And I believe we've all been blessed. And thank you, Brother Russell, again for bringing him on board. I think the past 2 sessions has been awesome, and I know as men, this is what we need. Last week was a great one, and this Tuesday too has been great. I know there are a lot of people who are in business in church. I think we need to spotlight them and bring them here to also share their journey so that we can learn, you know. Now the way the world is going, yeah, you have to do something alongside whatever you are doing, you know. And we always see that the world is coming to China or the world is here. This is their manufacturing hub. So yeah, one way or the other, we can all tap into the blessing of being in this land. Though it's not easy, and it's not everyone who is into business, but I believe that we can start from somewhere. You know, we can start from somewhere. I know many people have been arguing that Messi is talented and Ronaldo learn alongside, but still Ronaldo is the best, regardless of it. So in any other way, even if that is not your field, at least you can tap into something and then try and see how things will go. So thank you. I think let's try and also get other people in church who are into business or who have been in China for some time, for them to also share their journey. You know, I know some people have been here for more than 20, 15, 30 years. At least we can tap into their wisdom and then we are going to grow. All that I want to say is that let us be doers of everything that we say, not hearers alone. You know, many a times we come and we hear this thing and we are revived, but tomorrow will come and we just put it alongside. It's not easy, you know. I've grown to understand that business itself is also a skill, you know, and you have to master it, you know, in all other dimension. But above all, we have the ultimate God. You know, let's talk to God. Let's get close to Him, and let His will be done in our life. Probably yours might not be business, or yours might be something. But how would you know? Is when you get close to God, right? And God will reveal certain things to you. But I know as men, we will always going to soar higher, and nothing is going to hinder us, So thank you, family, for coming in your numbers as well. Last week was great. Thank you. And I like the way we are moving. We need to help each other along our path in China here for us to all be blessed. Right. So thank you. Thank you again, Brother Blessed, for the insights. And please don't forget, you are still a member of AOM, so we need your tithe. Okay. Let us enjoy the tithe of your business. All right. Okay. So thank you. Thank you. All right. I think the announcements we have is our vigil coming on this Friday. Yeah, we have our vigil this Friday. It's our vigil, and also next week we'll be entering into our Easter celebration, or Good Friday or Resurrection Sunday. So let's prepare our heart for the Holy Week that is ahead of us as well. All right. Thank you, Brother Russell. Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pastor Ben, for those words. Yeah. So